Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're here, I have a feeling that you have some relationship challenges. Now, maybe you're thriving in your career, but you're starting to wonder if maybe you're just a bit too nice when it comes to relationships with men. I have so been there too. And maybe, you've heard the dreaded phrase, let's just be friends, or found that somebody sticks around, long enough just to enjoy your kindness, but then kind of just disappears. Or despite all your efforts, you're not feeling really valued or respected. I have been through all of this myself, and that is exactly why I'm making today's video, 7 nice girl habits that you need to stop to avoid the same pitfalls that I face. So listen up, ladies, and get ready to shift your energy and behaviors to help you find the love that you deserve. And if you're new here, welcome. I'm Kimberly Anderson. I'm an international dating and relationship expert, and I guide professional women over 35 who are separated or divorced to reconnect with their feminine essence so that they can find their soulmate. But before we dive into the real reason why you are here, would you do me a favor? It means a lot, and it may help some other women like you going through tough times with a simple push of a button. Let's consider it our ladies' agreement. I make the content and I do my very best to help you as much as I can completely for free. And in return, you support the community by hitting the subscribe button, giving this video a thumbs up, and leaving your thoughts in the comments. I would so love to hear from you. Thank you so much. And also, one thing is I have 2 free new ebooks to help you attract love. I'm super excited to share these with you to help you attract love. Be sure to grab your copy in the description below. Okay, first I want you to understand how powerful your nice girl habits are and why they're not helping you find love. So please don't underestimate what we're going to talk about in this video here. Listen all the way to the end because this has been tested and proven by myself and by my clients. All right, here we go. Number 1, the first nice girl habit that you really need to stop doing is to stop giving too much too soon. One of my clients, let's call her Sarah, right? She just started dating a man. She was, really liked him. And quite early on, she found herself doing everything for him to make him feel special. She'd cook him meals, she'd drive him around. She was the one who was really planning thoughtful dates, and she thought that this would show him just how much she cared about him and that, she was a great partner. But instead of feeling appreciated, he saw her as being desperate and too eager, which made him take her for granted. And he started expecting special treatment without having to put in any effort. And over time, what happened is they fell into a situationship. So they were both sleeping together, but there was no, defined label of a couple. And Sarah just kept hoping that he would say something about wanting to be an official couple of some sort, with commitment. So she began to feel, super frustrated and unappreciated and wondering, why he wasn't valuing her the way that she hoped. So what do you do in this kind of situation? Well, it's important that you hold back and allow the relationship to develop naturally. Instead of saying hold back, lean back and allow the relationship to develop naturally, right? Let him step up and invest in you. Because when you overcompensate or you give too much too soon, it can really shift the dynamic and make him take you for granted rather than, working to earn your attention and your affection. Number 2 is don't be available all the time. I can remember one man I was really excited about. I thought we had so much in common. And honestly, I really believed that he might have been the one, right? So when he called one night and he asked to meet up, I figured that dropping my plans to be with him was a great idea. Now, there are definitely times when this might make sense, but in this case, I had already seen him several times that week, so it really wasn't necessary to see him again. But I let my excitement get the best of me, and guess what happened? Well, instead of appreciating that I was always available for him, he started to pull away. And eventually he put me in this, famous friend zone, and I was really crushed. And that's when I realized that being too available, especially in early dating, was a big mistake. Now, here's a great example of a woman not being available all the time. Remember when Meghan Markle and Prince Harry had their first date? I don't know if you remember this, but Meghan had dinner with friends after their meeting. And even though she was like on a date with a prince, right? She did not cancel her plans. She left, in fact, after just an hour with Harry. Now, a lot of women might have been tempted to stay longer with Harry or cancel their date, but Meghan didn't, right? She knew the power of not being too available, and we all know how that turned out for her. I hope you're enjoying this video so far, and a gentle reminder about our ladies' agreement to remember to hit the subscribe button. And I have a question for you. Have you ever felt like you have been too nice in a relationship? And what did you do about it? Share and help other women by leaving a comment below. All right, number 3, stop staying silent about intimacy needs. Now, if you've been dating and you have become intimate, it's important to be honest about your needs. This may be more common than you think it is. I've seen so many women, stay quiet about their needs, especially when it comes to intimacy, because they don't want to hurt his feelings, right? I get it. We don't want to bruise his ego, right? But staying quiet doesn't solve anything. It just builds up frustration. And if you don't talk about intimacy issues early on, they can really blow up later, causing much bigger problems later down the road. I'm going to give you an example. I had a client who was in a relationship for 1 year, and for the entire time, she never told him that she was not satisfied in the bedroom. She didn't speak up because she was afraid that she would hurt his feelings. So over this time, the frustration built up and the relationship eventually wound up ending because her desire for sex just dried up and it impacted everything between them. Ladies, being honest about what you need doesn't mean that you are difficult. It makes you real. If you don't address intimacy issues early on, they can become a much harder to fix problem later on. And remember, one thing that's important also in this process is how you say it, right? I found that if you approach it with care, and if he's the right guy, he will want to know how to make you happy. He will want to know how to please you, and he will really appreciate your honesty. Okay, the 4th thing is to stop trying to make things work when he isn't interested. Now, I know how exhausting it can be, to keep trying to make a relationship work when the other person is just not putting in the effort. I have been there, thinking, if I just try a little bit harder, he'll come around. But the truth is, if he's not invested in you, it's not about you, it is about him, right? One of my clients, Lisa, let's talk about Lisa as an example, okay? So she went through the same thing, right? She liked this guy a lot, right? And she kept hoping things would work out and turn into something serious. So she planned all the dates. She was initiating most of the conversations, and she did everything to keep the connection alive. But while she was doing all the work, he was just coasting along, and he barely made any effort, and it really started to exhaust her and to drain her. So eventually, Lisa realized that she was the only one trying, right? So she stopped chasing and she let things be. And guess what happened? He didn't step up. And that was her moment of clarity. That was her aha moment. And she said, you know what? I'm not going to be the one doing all the work in this one-sided relationship. And when she let go, she felt this weight lift off of her shoulders. And not long after, she met someone who was just as committed as she was. So ladies, if you're constantly trying to make it work and he's not putting in the effort, it's time to take a step back. A real relationship takes 2 people who want it to work, not just one person doing all the heavy lifting. Trust me, when you stop chasing the wrong one, the right one will come along. Okay, number 5 is don't mother him or try to control him. I'm going to be honest here. I used to do one thing a lot in relationships, and that was I would give unsolicited advice, right? So if he mentioned a problem or seemed a little bit lost, I would, jump in with suggestions on what he should do or, how he could handle things and what I thought was best for him, even when he didn't ask. Now, I thought I was being helpful, right? But then I realized that, it really made him feel like I didn't trust him or that he couldn't figure it out on his own. So here's the thing. Men really need to feel like they can stand on their own 2 feet. So when I was constantly checking in on him, reminding him to take care of himself or offering advice, that he didn't ask for, it wasn't building our connection. It was actually just stifling it, So once I stopped and I let him take the lead, make his decisions and find solutions, things really started to shift. And he stepped up And I finally felt like I had a partner and I wasn't his caretaker. Letting go of that need to manage everything opened up a space for a healthier, more balanced relationship. It's about trusting that he can handle things on his own and showing him that you don't have to mother him to prove that you care about him. All right, number 6 is to stop staying in a relationship out of pity. Now, I know firsthand how tough this can be. You don't want to hurt his feelings, especially if he's a good guy. But in staying in a relationship out of pity or out of sympathy, it isn't helping you, but it's not helping him either, right? I remember having a boyfriend who was going through a really rough time, and I didn't want to hurt him. He was kind, he was sweet, and part of me felt really guilty about even thinking about ending things with him. So I stayed longer than I should have in the relationship, hoping that things would get better. But of course, they didn't, right? And this is something that I see all the time with the women that I work with, is that they hold on to relationships because they feel like somehow they're responsible for the other person's feelings, even when deep down they know that it's not right. But there's this thing, holding on out of pity, which is actually worse in the long run because it keeps him from finding someone who truly wants to be with him, and it keeps you stuck in something that really doesn't feel right. Trust me, ending things when it's not right is kinder for both of you. A relationship, that's built on sympathy, it just can't last. You really deserve a connection that's based on real attraction and fulfillment. All right, number 7 is to stop being afraid to set boundaries. Now, I've found that a lot of women struggle to set boundaries, especially when it comes to figuring out where the relationship is going. It's really tricky because we don't want to come across as pushy. We don't want to scare them away, right? So a lot of us women end up dating a guy for months, and we're not really sure where things stand, but are too nervous to ask. But here's the thing. When we don't set boundaries, we end up feeling confused, we end up feeling anxious, and we start questioning everything. What I tell the women that I work with is that setting boundaries isn't about rushing things or demanding answers, right? It's just about being clear about what you want. So instead of waiting around, in limbo, you could say something like, I'm really enjoying spending time with you. I really feel so great when we're together. Where do you see this heading? And, it's not about pressuring him. It's about being honest with yourself and with him. And the truth is, when you set boundaries, you're not only showing that you respect yourself, the right man will respect you too. It's not about being difficult. It's about knowing what you need. And a relationship thrives when both people are on the same page, and you deserve that clarity. If you enjoyed this video, I have a great video on how you should never chase a man at the end of this video, so please check it out. I hope this video has been valuable to you. Thank you so much for watching until the end. And until next time, sending you lots of love.